Hello, my friend. I'm super excited. In today's video, we are going to talk about how I'm using the Great Lock-In 2025 as an online income challenge for myself. Now, the Great Lock-In officially started September 1. Today is September 8th. I literally just found out about this trend that's going on online right now, and I watched a couple of videos and I was so inspired. And so I decided to take this Great Lock-In 2025 as a personal challenge for myself, but I'm doing this as like the online income or online business edition. So if you are wanting to start an online business or you are right now in the process of building your online business, you might just want to tag along and use these strategies as a way of helping you during this time as well, or to take on such a challenge for yourself. I've actually built a six-figure-a-year business for myself, leveraging very simple resellable digital offers and YouTube. So resellable digital offers, YouTube, and email is how I've built my business. I've been online for 18 years now. And the reason why I think this challenge is such perfect timing is that when I first started my business, it was August. And over the span of 4 months, I was able to acquire over 500 customers. I built my own community. Clearly, I started making a lot of money. Actually, on day number 3, I made my first sale. But I really got such a great jump and put our family in a little bit better of a financial situation because I took my business so serious right from the jump. And that allowed me to go into the next year position to start experiencing consistent 4-figure months. And that was while I was working full time as a nurse. And so I figured this was such great time, and I'm so glad I found those videos. And I'm going to guide you through exactly how I plan to use this Great Lock in 2025 to not only hold myself accountable, but to supercharge my business. So not only have I built a six-figure-a-year business, but now I'm actually tracking, or I am gunning for $100,000 every quarter. And so no matter where you're starting, I really hope that you can use what I'm going to be focused on to help you in your own online business endeavors. The very first thing that you want to lock in on is your decision. Like, first off, you've got to decide. When I first came online, the only reason I made my first sale on day number 3, 28 sales in my first 30 days, and then went on to enroll hundreds of customers in my first few months in business is because I decided that I was making this my new way of life. I decided upon something. So maybe for you, that's simply deciding to finally get started, or maybe for you, that's deciding to finally start taking action and to actually start doing something that now you're ready to move beyond just like enrolling yourself in a business or having a business idea, but you're really ready to start getting after it. So the first thing is absolutely a decision for me, and this will probably be the only thing that I will talk about in terms of my own personal goals. I'm learning that it's really, really important to hold a lot of your goals, like keep them to yourself. And I heard this recently, quiet progression, loud execution. Write that down, right? Quiet progression, right? Loud execution. So essentially allow your execution to speak way more louder than you professing your goals and where you're going, and allow your execution to be inspiration for other people that might want to go on a like journey. All right. So the one thing I will tell you about my decision is that for me, what I decided upon was that I'm tired of sitting at a six-figure-a-year business, and it's ready to really, really take responsibility and ownership of progressing. And for me, again, $100,000 every quarter. That is what I am gunning for. All right. And make sure you subscribe and that you decide to hang around, because the videos beyond here, I will be talking more strategy. I will be talking more about my specific income stream and my business. And it's just going to be a really, really fun ride. All right. So the next thing, number 2, is frequency over finesse. I realize that in this season, after being online for so many years, it's really easy to fall into a rut of thinking that everything has to be perfect because I'm 18 years into this, right? And I should be looked at as a pro or an expert or a guru. And sometimes I impose limitations and I impose expectations on my business that no one else has expected or imposed upon me. And what that allows me to do more often than not is to go slower because I'm trying to perfect everything, or I'm believing that everything needs to look a certain way. And when I reflect back on my business when I was first getting started, and any time throughout my years when I was ramping up, when I went from like struggling to $10,000 months for the very first time, when I went from a decision to my first six-figure year, I did it all scrappy. I did it all based upon math, knowing that if I had $1,000 offer and I enrolled 100 people, that would be $100,000. Or if I knew that just showing up every single day and posting content, right, was the thing that was going to get me to the next level, like I just did that. I worried way less about perfection and it was more about the execution. And so during this Great Lock-in 2025, we're talking about September 1, right, all the way through the end of the year. So basically 4 solid months. Even if you're starting today, we're a little bit late, but that's okay, right? 4 solid months, right, of frequency with your execution. Whenever that execution is going to be frequency over finessing. All right. Number 3, being goal directed. All right. So it's so important to be goal directed, like to know where you're going. So for me, all roads lead to $100,000 every quarter. For you, that might look like I just want to get to a place of making consistent sales. Or it might be I want to start positioning my business for a sale a day. Like whatever that is, be very, very goal directed and be locked into that. When I was first getting started, I didn't know anything about like numbers. All I knew is that I was working full time as a nurse and I wanted to make internet marketing my new way of life. And I saw other people out there doing certain things and I just started doing the same things that they were doing. Again, I locked in on the actual execution. I made sales very, very quickly. And I looked up and like I said, I was starting to earn more in my business than I was working as a nurse. And it's only because I was locked in on one goal and that was making this my new way of life. All right. So make sure that you are goal directed, but make sure that you're system dependent. And so I don't want to really make this video about me talking to you about what to do. This is how I'm focusing in my business. But again, I'm such a teacher. I love helping other people. So it's like I'm always going to like impose my factors on you, assuming that you're following this journey for yourself. So number 4 is even though I'm goal directed, like I know $100,000 every quarter is what I'm gunning for, and I'm making sure everything about my business is in alignment with hitting that goal, right? I also have to be very, very system dependent, because one thing that so many people do is they get so focused on their goals. They start taking action, and when it looks like those goals are not coming closer, or it looks like it's so far away, or it looks like things aren't happening the way they want them to happen, right? They pull back. And more often than not, I've realized, even for myself, whenever I pull back on the very thing that has all the opportunity or the potential to get me to my goal. Isn't that silly? So like in this example, part of my system could be creating videos, right, on a weekly basis. And let's say that I start creating videos and 4 weeks into it, I've done, maybe 4 to 8 videos and I'm not getting the results that I think I should get. What do? Right? And what do most people do? They pull back on doing videos. They're like, well, clearly this isn't working. So they stop doing the very thing that has the potential, right, to get them the outcome. Pulling back does nothing for you outside of take you out of the game, right? Instead, you want to lock in on your system, telling yourself and realizing the more videos that I create, the more people I bring into my world, the more leads I generate, the closer I get to making sales. Last year, I realized that my business, right, there was a system around my business where I knew every single time I generated a certain amount of leads, a sale would happen. So that was an instance of me now having a factor where I could be dependent upon a certain amount of leads equaling a sale, right? So that was the system. So I was focused on my goal, right? But on a daily basis, I was focused on generating that amount of leads. So here's where it gets powerful, especially when we're talking about hitting like money goals. Is that if I got to a place where I realized, let's just say 20 leads equaled one $500 sale, and let's just say it took me all week to generate 20 leads and I made $500 in a week. If I wanted to start making $500 in a day, right now I know to focus or to, figure out a plan or to scale in a way where I could generate 20 leads in one single day, right? And that would get me into a way of, position to make $500 in a single day. So that's why we never want to focus on our goals. We want to be more system dependent. All right. Super, super important. So that's how I'm focused moving forward. Really, really dialed in and locked into my systems. The next step is strip away all the complexities. You want to make this as simple as possible. And for me, someone being in this space for so many years, the complexities is definitely one of those areas that's got me, right? It's like, because I impose these expectations that I should be an expert, I should be a guru, I should be further along. that I've got to show up in a certain way, that people view me a certain way. And oftentimes what that does is it makes me put way more on what I have to do, right? So I very much so am like a rough and ready, scrappy kind of marketer. I can have a video idea, turn on my camera and just let it rip. Do you want to see my video talking points? This is my video talking points. Started off, right, in just a Google email, and I started typing, then I printed it, and then I got more ideas. And this is what I'm using right now. This is what you call scrappy. This is what you call rough and ready. This is what you call, right, frequency over, what did I say earlier, finesse, right? I don't have a teleprompter, none of that, right? And so when I'm in this season, this is when big things pop off because it allows me to operate more prolifically. If I'm operating out of a place of perfection, then I'm sitting back, I'm micromanaging my thoughts, I'm trying to script everything out, and then when I get on camera, I can't stick to my script, so I feel like I'm doing things wrong, and then I'm trying to fumble over my thumbnail, and I look up and a whole week's gone by and I'm still trying to like mastermind this plan, right? When I had my first 6-figure year, heck, when I made my first sale online as a complete brand new person, all of those outcomes and those milestones came as a byproduct of me just simply having an idea, having a thought, and then using the camera and using YouTube as a playground to inspire, empower, and to help other people on their journeys, right? As I was on my own journey. I think the best thing that we can do is to remind ourselves that first off, every single one of us are living life for the very first time. So even though I'm 51 years old, I've never been at this day of 51 before. Does that make sense? And so if we could just simply all remind ourselves that every single day, we're still in a way of figuring things out. We're still on a journey. And the best that we can do is live that journey and inspire other people through our journey. If that is a business that you're building and you want to acquire more buyers or customers or enrollments, right? Then be an example, be the product of that business, share your journey with other people and inspire them to come on the journey with you. Like that's exactly how all of this started for me way back in 2007. And then when I made my pivot in 2022, right, or 2023, it was because I was sick and tired of the business that I was in and how it was going. I was sick and tired of not being where I wanted to be in life. Another woman came along, went live, talked about earning $22,000 that month in a very simple business model. I said, I want that. I went and got that. And that's how I got on this journey. And now that's how I've gone on to acquire hundreds of customers in this one business because I just simply show up, right, to inspire and empower others through my journey. I think the worst thing that you can do is impose limitations that you've got to be somewhere else or that you're not good enough, because that will always slow you down. If you can just simply always remember, and I think, I know I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but I think this element right here is what holds so many people back. And in something like the Great Lock-in 2025, if you're wanting to experience way more results than you've ever experienced before in your business over these 4 months, you've got to decide to think about your business different, navigate your business different, make the decisions in your business differently, and decide to be scrappy. That's my word, I think, for this time period is scrappy. And anytime I find myself trying to make it more than it needs to be, I'm going to pull myself back in and say, Steph, again, strip away the complexities, right? And just allow the message or allow the doing to be the doing, and to know that you are going to inspire and empower people because you're doing it this way. All right. And another thing I want to talk about when it comes to stripping away the complexities, because we are in the AI era, is oftentimes tools like ChatGPT can slow you down because you're thinking that ChatGPT is an expert. And don't get me wrong, ChatGPT like seriously is the homie. However, how many times, if you have been in the flow of your business, you've gone into ChatGPT with an idea, and then honestly, ChatGPT puts way more on your idea, and now you think you need way more in order to bring that idea to life. Like you had one little idea for an email, maybe, right, or for a video idea or content idea, and you just wanted to run it by ChatGPT, and now ChatGPT has you sitting there for hours, right, like masterminding and drawing out this plan much bigger than it needs to be, when you could have already have had the video done, the email written, the post done, whatever. So I'm going to tell you, during a time like this, I am stripping away the complexities, rough, ready, scrappy, right? All of those things is what you're going to experience, right? As me, as a business builder. And think about this, how much of an inspiration is that going to be for women that come after me, find my content, and they're like, that's the content that got you to $100,000 every quarter. You see what I'm saying? So what is that going to do for them? They're going to say, oh my gosh, I can do that too. So again, speaking to people that are in the online business space, that's how you make more sales, is when you are selling something and it can help another person get the same outcome that you're gunning for or that you're experiencing. The easier that you make it for yourself, the easier it is for other people as well. Again, I believe that's exactly why I was able to get such a fast start, is because I saw the examples before me as being like so easy. I told myself I can do that. And because I believed I could do that, I did it and made my first sale on day number 3. And unlocking that level of confidence, right, is everything to gunning it and going hard, because now you have proof that you can actually do this, proof that somebody will buy from you, proof that this works for you. All right. So girlfriend, boyfriend, strip away the complexities. All right. The next step, number 6, or the next factor, number 6, trust that you know what you know, and trust that you know what to do. So again, you're like, Steph, that's easy for you to say. You've been doing this for 18 years. But remember, these are my factors. I'm just sharing them with you. I'm sharing how I'm using the Great Lock-In to supercharge my business over these next 120 days. And I'm reminding myself of this, telling myself to trust that I know what I know, and to trust that I know what to do, and that I don't need someone else telling me what to do. I don't need to go out there and validate it against what other people are doing. When I was first getting started, right? And I saw other people out there doing little videos, and I said, I can do that. And I went out there and did my first video and made my first sale on day number 3. It's only because, again, I believed I knew what to do. I believed like all of the examples and the information and the direction was already in front of me, and all I had to do it. Over my 18 years, and this is where I love to share my own experience and my own journey. Every single time I've gone from a place of needing to restart or reboot or ramp up, I was always able to do it fast because I knew what I needed to do, and I just simply did it. I didn't get a second opinion. At that time, there was no chat GPT. I believed that I knew what I knew, and I believed that I knew what to do, and I just simply did it. I'll give you this example. Because again, I'm telling you, you will amaze yourself if you decide to use these 4 months as a way of leveling up. I think you'll surprise yourself with how much money you can actually earn by just simply trusting the process. And that's what this is, the process. But in 2013, I had come off a really, really hard year in my business. I hope I don't get choked up. A really, really hard year where because I wasn't doing this, I was caught up in everyone else's agenda. I had shiny object syndrome. I was in and out of opportunities, and I was just lost. I was barely making $1,400 a month. I remember that number so vividly. And on so many levels, I felt like I let my family down really, really bad. And in 2013, I remember one of my good friends in business came to me with a business. And when he shared it with me the first time, it didn't feel right. A week or 2 later, he shared it again, and I'm like, I'm going to do it. I got in, spent a week second guessing myself again. I hope you can learn from these things. Second guessing myself again for a whole week, and then it just clicked. Steph, like, what are you doing? You invested your money. You invested the last of what you had. All right. So at that point, I had barely $200 in my bank account, and I invested $147 into that business system, $149 into that business system. Sat around for a week, second guessing myself. And then I just woke up one day and I said, Steph, you know what to do. And so I did everything that I knew to do to get that business set up, ready to go. And I said, Steph, now that your system is set up, all you're going to do is get out there and do your thing on YouTube. And I did my thing on YouTube. I alerted the troops. I let people know where I was going. And by my 3rd week in business, I was on the leaderboards. The owner of the company was calling me, and I was on my way to earning $1,000. I was on my way. Let me see, my first $1,000 week was like 2 weeks into the business. And by my 3rd week, oh gosh, I forget the numbers. But anyways, by the end of my 30 days, I was already up $6,000. I earned $6,000 in my first 30 days. And then by the end of my 2nd month, I had earned over $17,000, like $17,000 and some change. Right? All because I just simply, again, I knew what I knew, and I trusted myself to do it. And I didn't allow other people's opinions, or I didn't validate it against what other people were doing. Like, I knew what to do, right? And literally I just gunned it. I burned all the boats behind me, and I allowed that to be like what I was gunning for. All right. Number 7. All right. For me, this challenge, this great lock-in for 2025, it's reminding me of the importance of the power of one as well. Which for me, it's reminding myself of that one person that I'm showing up for every single day. It's reminding myself that the one thing that I'm selling, right, like, is the perfect solution for this person. It's reminding myself that if I just lock in on YouTube, that YouTube will lock in on me, and not thinking that I have to be on all the other platforms. Just power of one, right? It's going to allow you to focus. Don't think you've got to be everywhere. Don't think you've got to be talking to all the people. Don't think that you need a gazillion offers. Don't think you need to solve a gazillion problems. Just lock in. First, think about what that thing is you want to sell. then ask yourself who's the perfect buyer for this thing. Talk to that person every single day on one platform. Like, be there when they show up. Be there when they're clocking in. Be there when they're looking for inspiration. Be there when they're looking for validation. Be there when they're looking for confirmation. Be there when they're checking for you. And I'm telling you, people will start buying from you. It's worked for me every single time. Okay. So much, as you can tell, of this challenge is mindset. It's getting yourself geared up to just simply do the simple task every single day. One thing that I love from, by Wallace Waddles, I forget what it's called, but he says this one thing, right, that I'll never forget. He says that you do things in a certain way, right? That people that get rich, they just simply learn how to do things in a certain way. And that's what this is. It's learning how to do things in a certain way. But first, you've got to understand, right, how all of these things work, right, so that you can do things in a certain way. All right. And every time I go back to every single outcome, every single milestone, everything major, right, I was doing the exact same things in a certain way. It was this energy, this vibe, this feeling, this knowing that I'm in the right place and I'm in the right season. And then every single one of my buyers to support my financial goals, they're out there. And so the power of one will just keep reminding me every single day that I'm speaking to that one person that wants exactly what I have to offer. They want to go where I'm going. They appreciate my journey. They've been looking for someone like me. They've been looking for something like what I'm selling, and that they're on YouTube every single day. And it's my job to meet them on their lunch break. It's my job to meet them when they're waking up. It's my job to be there, right, when they're checking in on YouTube for inspiration and for something that they can actually glean to and begin to use to help them on their journey. And as you can tell, so much about this is energy, right? It's the energy you bring into all of this. It's a shift from believing to actually knowing. And that's how I feel right now. I'm so glad that I found those initial videos, on the Great Lock-in 2025, because it really allowed me to take where I am right now to a completely different level. And I hope that you're taking notes and you're going to decide to make this your own. Number 8 is avoid being triggered, right? So unsubscribe, right? Delete the apps, right? And create a supportive environment. That is what I decided to do for myself. And before I even, knew about the Great Lock in 2025, for fourth quarter, I already told my community I'm not doing one-on-one mentorship. I was going to spend the fourth quarter completely focused on putting my life vest on in a really, really tough way and being about my goals, right? But for you, that might look like just deleting the apps that trigger you, right? So if you know every single time you go on Instagram, you're triggered by the other girlies that are making $1 gazillion a day, or you're triggered by whatever that thing is, right? You're triggered by it, then just delete it. Don't give yourself, that easy push button to access it, right? Unsubscribe from the emails, again, that keep triggering you and make you feel less of yourself. That's what I do. Every single time emails pop up that I know I'm never going to buy from the person, or they don't inspire me, they don't help me on my journey, I just delete them, right? I am trying to create during this season the most supportive environment for myself, right? And I'm not even talking just online, I'm talking about offline as well, all right? How much more can you get centered? How can you create a more supportive environment in your home? If you're working a 9-to-5 job right now, how can you create more supportive environments on your job? You're like, Steph, I can't control that. Absolutely, you can. If you sit in the lunch break gossiping with the other girls, right, on your lunch break, can you go to your car and use it as a time of recentering or shooting your video or writing an email or working on your business? It might not mean all 8 hours you have complete control over, right? But the time that you have, right, how are you controlling? Can you put earbuds in, right? Can you just decide I'm not going to participate in the gossip? What I will tell you is when you start blocking out things and they involve people catch wind of that and they'll start to leave you alone. If you stop listening to the gossip and playing a part of the gossip on the job, people will stop coming to you with it. So now you create your own supportive environment. When they see that you ghost the lunchroom for your car, they just might inquire, what are you doing? Why do you leave us every day? What are you doing out there? And who knows what that might open up for you. So both online and offline, create the most supportive environment that you can have. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm putting my life vest on. And for me, it's nothing is more important than my goals. Matter of fact, on the frequency part where I talked about frequency over finesse, one of the things that I wrote down for myself was that locking in and sharing my journey on a daily basis, I'm going to do whatever it takes because I believe the goal that I want is worth it. And I think that's where a lot of people, they don't get to that point where they believe their goal is worth it. So again, when things go bad, they pull back. Where for me, it's creating the most supportive environment, showing up every single day. And again, just being that girl in my business, my goals are worth that. And so again, just block out anything that's going to trigger you and create the most supportive environment that you can. And then the final one, number 8, is hustle with intention and hustle with excellence. All right. Don't just throw crap out there. Don't just, like, when you're building your business, don't just, this again, a reminder for me, right? Because oftentimes people mistake hustle and showing up daily, or a season like this where you want to get a really big goal out of it, as just, I'm just going to show up all chaotic. I'm just going to, or if they think of the word like scrappy, they think, oh, like, I'm just going to go out there and I'm just going to just do whatever I got to do and not be mindful, not be thoughtful. See, for me, scrappy is this, because I know I can riff, I know I can flow. I know that I would not write down things that I'm not qualified to talk about. And I know that I'm always just sharing my journey. I'm never showing up telling you this is what you've got to do, because everyone's got to figure out what they've got to do. The biggest goal, or the highest priority in all of my business right now, is to just show up, share my journey, and to be an inspiration for the woman that's ready to take this on for herself. That is it, right? If you view me as a guru, so be it. I don't view myself as a guru. I just view myself as a 51-year-old woman that's not exactly where she wants to be, that wants so much more for both herself and for her family, and is deciding to just show up and to make it real and to gun for these $100,000 quarters. And if that inspires another person to get after that for themselves, right, then that's what I'm here for. That's the highest priority in my business. So in a season like this, like, that's hustling with intention. I know why I'm showing up, who I'm showing up for. Again, that goes back to the power of one, right? And it's with intention, and it's with excellence, and it's also with purpose. I'm not just throwing crap against the wall. All right. And so what I want to encourage you to do is, number one, subscribe. Like, if this was all the vibes for you, if you were like, I need to lock in, I want to go on a challenge, I want to supercharge my results, I want to start making consistent sales. Like, I don't just want to have an online business, but I want to be a strong online income earner. The two are not the same. Anyone can say they have an online business, right? Anyone can say they have a funnel or they have a digital product, right? But how many people are actually amongst the 5% that are actually creating? That doesn't come from me. That comes from Stan. Stan Store actually says that only 5% of creators make any money online. You should take that on as a personal challenge, right? So not everyone that has a Stan Store, not everyone that has a Beacon Store, not everyone that has a System.io funnel, not everyone that has an idea and comes online and starts creating content actually makes money, right? So again, let's just go back to hustling with intention. If you take that now as a personal attack, because if I would have heard that when I was first getting started, I wouldn't have been the person that would have thought, well, crap, how is this going to work for me if only 5% of content creators make any money? I would have instantly saw myself as a part of the 5% and not a part of the 95%. So I love sharing stats like this, because it allows people to self-assess and to come to their own conclusion or set their expectation to, again, what this really takes. Like, it takes dialing in like this. It takes locking in like this. Like, I'm so excited for the Great Lock-In 2025. I'm so excited to share, again, the factors that I'm using, and I hope that they can be an inspiration to you as well. All right. So if you're seeking a business solution, like if you're like, Steph, I heard you kind of share that you make $500 a sale, and you're seeking such a solution, a done for you solution, a business that's much like a franchise, where all you've got to do is tap in, learn the business, get it set up, right? With done for you resources, all of the instructions, the sales system, the $500 product that's ready for you to start earning from, a supportive community, a place to show up every single week to get your questions answered, and something that literally you can start earning from within a week. I'll drop my information down below in the description. It's what, if you plug into my channel, it's what you're always going to hear me reference as what I use, right, to create $500, $1,000, and even $3,000 days inside of my business. I've done it time and time again. Then you can check it out down below. If you're looking to supercharge your business, I will tell you, when I first got started online, I didn't know what I didn't know. All I knew was I wanted to start making money online. And I was inspired by a very simple system that I discovered, and I thought it was just going to teach me some strategies or teach me like how to start making money online. I had no idea that it was going to give me an income stream. So when I got done with that PDF, yes, it was just a simple PDF. At the very end, it said, this can be your first income stream. And so the same way that I bought that from a guy named Gary, I was able to turn right back around and start selling that to other people. And that's how I made my first sale on day number 3, because I didn't have to figure out a business. I didn't have to figure out a product. I didn't have to figure out a sales system. I just got to turn right back around and start sharing the same information that helped me get my start. And that's exactly how I had my first 6-figure year as well, with a very similar business model. I thought at one point that that way of business wasn't going to work anymore, because I kept getting let down by systems that kept breaking. I won't go deep into that in this video, but then that sent me in a path of doing coaching, consulting, and creating an entire library of my own digital products. And after about 4 years, 5 years of doing that, I realized like that wasn't my passion. Like that wasn't it for me. I was burnt out and I was not making all of the money that I knew I really could make. I didn't want to go down a path of doing that kind of work to make the money that I wanted to make. And so I made a really, really hard pivot. And guess what? When I decided, remember, very first step. So even before I knew what I was going to do, I decided I was going to make a hard pivot. And not long after that, literally a week or two after that, I saw a lady that was she was going live and she had just made $22,000 that month. And she was selling a done for you system. And it was probably the best system I'd ever experienced or heard of before. And so I dialed in that exact same night. I spent that weekend ahead of me getting it set up and learning that business. On Monday, I launched it, and by Wednesday, I made my money back. I made $500. That made my investment back, and that week, I made $1,500. And in the 12 months to follow, I made $110,000 selling a simple $500 turnkey franchise-style business to other people that were just like me. And all I did was I just showed up on video, sharing my journey, sharing my experience, because I believed that more people needed to know that business model existed. Can you believe like that is enough to make you six figures? It absolutely is. And since then, I took the personal charge to make the system even better. And so you'll find more information down below in the description, or you can just simply go to myturnkeybusiness.com. It's the exact business and the exact income stream that I'm using during this great lock-in at 2025 to help me get to a place of earning $100,000 every quarter. So excited to continue to share my journey. I hope this can be an inspiration for you. I hope you took your notes, and I hope you decide to take charge. I'll see you in my next video, or I look so forward to seeing you inside of the community. Bye-bye.